Good evening and welcome to Club Deck Corner here on Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. This week, the transfer window is slammed shut for Rangers, but is in fact the podcast that has made a marquee signing for himself. I am delighted to say that I'm joined this evening by Nicky Elvin. Nicky, it's been a while, mate. How's things?
It has been a while, mate. It has been. I was trying to rack my brain actually when the last time I was on. It was certainly pre-Christmas, so it's been a while. But I'm at the mercy of life, mate. I'm just life is taking over, mate. I'm just very very hectic. I think returning to work tail end of last year. Three kids are growing up fast, mate, and everything else that life throws at you, mate. So I've been very hectic, but listen, I've missed the pod, I've missed you boys. It's good to be back on, and yeah, I'm looking forward to. Christ, I could fill an hour on my own just chatting about the last couple of months since I've last been on, mate. But now I'm looking forward to just having a chat about what's been happening lately.
That's brilliant. That's good. It's brilliant to see you as always. As always, please get your comments in. We are live on YouTube this evening. Obviously, a few weeks ago, kind of Carl announced that we're taking Club Deck Corner to a live. Whether that's Monday or Tuesday evening, all Club Deck Corners will be live going forward. So please get your comments in. It's always good to see you, and like, subscribe. You get a gist. So just tonight we're gonna a quick agenda this evening. We're gonna go over the 4-0 win over Ross County at Ibrox at the weekend, and we'll look over the January transfer window for Rangers and kind of what it means for the rest of the season. So first of all, Nicky, mate, as you say, it's been a while since you've been on. What's your kind of thoughts of Rangers over this last wee period? Obviously, we've had some highs, some definite lows. But what's your kind of overall analysis of kind of where we are just now, Rangers?
I always use the roller coaster analogy, Ross, managing this club. But I often say it's a social experiment as well to see how much fans would go through before they end up in some sort of padded room or a straitjacket or whatever watching this mob. But no, listen, I think that's been essentially what's happened. I think there has been lots that's changed over the last couple of months. There's been lots of big events, both good and bad, since I have last been on. I'm trying again, just thinking about some of the things that have happened. We've seen re-emergence of Yanis Hagi, a guy who we thought was completely dead in the water, right? We think back to that contract situation and where fans were. I think a lot of fans were very much on the fence about Yanis Hagi, but in hindsight, it looks as though it's good that we've come to an agreement. We've seen the re-emergence of him. We've seen Hamza Igaman. I don't think I've been on to speak about
No.
Hamza Igaman. We've seen an absolute baller come out of nowhere. The guy's come in for, what, 2-ish months, 2.5 months. He probably come in sort of tail end of November and has hit, 12 or 13 goals. He has hit, I don't know, 230 nutmegs, there or thereabouts. He has had multiple chest controls. He's lit the place up, for lack of a better phrase, a young boy. We've also seen Raskin, a guy that I constantly bang the door about, or bang the drum about, sorry, to get Raskin more game time, get him in the number 6. I think, again, Raskin has been sensational. But we've also seen lows as well, right? We've seen the League Cup final defeat to Celtic. We've seen the controversy of the non-penalty decision on Czerny. We've seen the disappointment of that. We've seen ourselves pick ourselves up, dust ourselves off just a couple of weeks later, beat them 3-0. Fantastic performance at Ibrox. We've seen the European success, that late drama to finish top 8 and obviously miss that kind of next stage and get straight through to the last 16 of the competition. A competition, by the way, that looks all right on paper. I know there's sort of a couple of half-decent clubs there, and we'll come on and talk about this over the next couple of weeks, but it looks all right on paper. I think we are benefiting from the fact that we're not seeing that drop-off for Champions League teams, which we normally seen in the kind of older format. But yeah, another high, obviously qualifying there. And then we've obviously seen the transfer window as well. A transfer window that, to be honest, I wasn't expecting a lot from. I know, again, we'll come on and chat a bit more about the actual transfer window, but January is notoriously a really difficult window, not only getting people in, but getting bodies out the door. I think we are in a transition period, as much as people don't want to admit it. We are in a transition as a club. I actually think, and again, we'll come on and break it down a wee bit more. On the whole, it's been a somewhat successful window. I think if I think back to the start of the season, I had a list of 7 or 8 guys who I just wanted rid of. We've managed to shift a couple of them this window. We've got big wages off. And I think actually it's quite refreshing to see that we haven't shit ourselves, for lack of a better phrase, and thrown a shed load of money at like an Aaron Ramsey or somebody like that last minute of the window, right? I just think it's completely pointless. Again, I think reality is the league's gone, right? We're not going to win the league. I think we've already shown that we can go fairly punch for punch with Celtic in one-off games. We've seen that in the League Cup final. We've seen it at Ibrox lately. We've seen what we can do in Europe. So actually, I think that the transfer window has been somewhat sensible, and I think it's probably again sensible that we, if any funds that we do have, we probably save to the summer just to see kind of what situation we're in, what money's about. There'll probably be better availability, and we'll probably have a better idea, longer term strategy from a manager perspective as well. Is it going to be Philip Clement that takes us into the 2025-26 season, or is it going to be somebody else, in which case the money would be beneficial to be given to them, mate? So a lot has changed, roller coaster, ups and downs, mate. But
Yes, you're right. There's been absolutely tons of went on, and it's good that we're here to speak about a win at the end of the day as our most recent performance. So as we said, Rangers coming away 4-0 victors against Ross County at Ibrox on Sunday. Relatively comfortable for Rangers. That's on the kind of 3 meetings we've had with Ross County, I believe it's 6-0, 3-0 and 4-0. So definitely not shy to a goal against them, and it was no different at the weekend. So kind of just starting off with the kind of usual breakdown, the starting 11 for me kind of raised a few positive eyebrows, if that's a term, I'm not sure, but I was quite happy to see in the line, obviously Hagi and Ciala coming back in after the European game, but John Soapy Suter back in the starting 11. Nicky, Suter's a guy who, he did look like he was coming on to good form. There was that kind of period where he was definitely one of the first names in the team sheet, and then obviously got that injury, which is something that seems to be a bit of a problem with Suter, but hopefully this is hopefully he's on the way back. But what was your kind of thoughts on the starting 11, mate? Was it too harsh to drop a Barami, playing complete devil's advocate here, but what was your thoughts overall?
I think just firstly on Suter, mate, you're probably right. Suter is the first centre back on our team sheet and has been for the vast majority of this season. Obviously, he's been unfortunate with that recent injury, Ross. Whether or not John Suter should be the number 1 centre back is a debate for another night, right? I've kind of made my viewings known on that. And I think, again, that's maybe one of the areas. I know we've brought in Fernandes. We've not seen him much, and we'll talk a bit about him later on again. But do we need a new number 1 centre half, right? Because I still think John Suter is probably a bit of a downgrade on the likes of Connor Goldson, just reality of where I think we are. Interestingly, though, one of the things I did read on Twitter just over the last week or so was, and it might have been the guys over at Rangers Review, there was a stat going around about how many goals we'd conceded from corners since John Suter had been out of the team. And I think there was something, I don't quote me on this, right, but it was there or thereabouts. There was like 12 games in the lead up to John Suter's injury that we hadn't conceded a goal from a set piece, or maybe not a set piece, but maybe it was just a corner. But since John Suter has been away, the kind of 8 or 9 games that he missed, we conceded something like 4 or 5 goals for set pieces, right? So we do miss that kind of dominant centre half. I know Proper's got a bit about him, but I don't think he's a dominating kind of ball winning centre half, right? I don't think he's got the same aggression as kind of John Suter. So listen, it was good to see him back. As I say, a debate for another night on whether we think John Suter is good enough to be the number 1 centre half at Rangers to take us forward in a kind of title charge. But it was good to see him back. On Barami, I don't know, jury's out with Barami for me, mate. I think there's been big money spent on him. Again, what was it, 3.5 million quid rumoured we paid for Barami. One thing I will say is I do think he impacted games against Celtic which is a box ticker, right? We always look, if you're bringing in guys, you want them to impact the first team, you want them to impact the big games. Big games, I'm talking about Celtic, but we also talk about games against Aberdeen away, Hearts away, Hibernian away, right? Typically the tough venues that we go to, Rugby Park. But Barami's been very hot or cold for me, mate. I know he's kind of been out left a couple of times. He's been in the 10 a couple of times. I tend to think Barami does a wee bit better when we don't have a lot of the ball. And he kind of does that press. I think he activates the press quite well. I think he done a really good job on Callum McGregor in the last Old Firm couple of games. When we are in a game where we have lots and lots of the ball and we're trying to dominate and break down a kind of low block, I'm not sure he's doing it, mate. I'm not sure he's as good in those tight spaces. I'm not sure he's got that kind of creativity, and certainly not. We've not seen it yet, I don't think. I always say get goal scorers on the park, right? Irrelevant of what we're playing, whether it's a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1, whatever formation we want to play. If we think back to the Gerrard days, I always say get Morelos and Roof in the team, right? Put one of them in the right wing position, because we never really had a right winger. You've Kent kind of on the left wing. I always say get goal scorers into that team, and you win games. And I think it's pretty much the same now, right? I actually quite like Igaman and Dessers, or an Igaman and a Danilo being on the park at the same time, because I think it just raises your probability of scoring goals. Barami, he scored a couple of goals, right? But I don't think he's the same threat as what an Igaman and a Dessers give you, right? I think both of them are on kind of 12, 15, maybe even higher. I think Dessers might be higher, actually. He might be closer to 18, 19 goals this season. So, yeah, I think... I think... Yes, I wouldn't say I was surprised to see Barami drop out. I think if we'd a game tomorrow night and we were up at Pittodrie or Rugby Park or something like that, I would expect Barami probably to come back in just to give you that wee bit more structure in the kind of centre of the park. But I think at home there's no need to have 5 midfielders, right? Get 2 strikers on the park and go and score goals, man.
Mate, we've missed you so much, honestly. We have, honestly, you're spot on, you're spot on. Yeah, it's... he's been a talking point, Barami, for quite a while. I do hope the boy comes good. He has shown in flashes. He's got a wee bit about him, but as you say, it's kind of probably managing depending on the situation, depending on the game just now with Barami. But for the rest of the lineup, yeah, I thought it kind of probably picked itself. For the opening 15 minutes, Rangers were fairly comfortable. It was relatively, you'd say pretty boring on the eye, but the comments saying they're just quite professional and how they went about their business. It came to not long after, and it was 1-0 to Rangers through Hagi. It was a brilliant ball from Insiala out to Tierney, who we'll come on to, by the way, Insiala. Tierney brings the ball down, drives at the goal, has a shot which forces a save at the goalkeeper, and there's on-rushing Hagi to slot it in for 1-0. Nicky, as you say, mate, like to have as many players on the park contributing to goals as possible. That's, in our last 3 games, you look at Dundee United, Diamande scored, USG, Raskin scored, and there's Hagi scoring against Ross County. So we're getting goals from all around the pitch, which is definitely quite refreshing to see. You'd say just now that with our current squad that Hagi's probably one of the first names in the team sheet.
I think he is, mate. I mean, again, I might be controversial here. I still think there's something missing with Hagi, and I don't know what it is. I'm not sure what it is. I think Hagi's probably perfect for these games, right? I don't think there's any missing for his game in these sort of games. I think, no disrespect, right? At Ibrox versus teams like Ross County, your St Johnstones, your Motherwells, Dundees, these sort of teams that are kind of mid to bottom of the table, right? I think Hagi's perfect for them because, again, you're up against kind of low blocks. Hagi is technically very, very good, right? He's one of the best players in our team from a technical perspective, right? He can hit with both feet. He's got good first touch. He can see a pass. He's got great vision, good execution. Yes, maybe it is that he lacks a wee bit of pace to play out wide, because what you tend to see with Hagi is he's tricky enough and he's technical enough to go by boys, but they tend to recover quite quickly. And what you'll see with Hagi is he constantly turns back. He'll chop in, he'll chop back again, because he's constantly trying to beat the man. He's not really got that burst acceleration to just get away from somebody, but he is perfect for these games. I think a few weeks ago, I was sat in my house going, I'm not sure Hagi's the right guy for the game at Tannadice, right? Because I felt he struggled. I know he played the ball into proper second half and kind of get assists for Proper's goal to put us 2-1 ahead, but I felt like he sometimes goes missing in the wee games. He gets stuck in, right? But I just feel like he maybe lacks, and maybe it is a wee bit of pace in these games where you're kind of breaking up the park and he kind of needs to get away from guys, and he maybe just doesn't. But for games like Ross County at home, right, Yanis Hagi's perfect, right? Because as the comment says there, he plays with his head up, he's got good vision, he can pick a pass, and he can score a goal, right? He's kind of come back into the team. I was kind of looking at his stats the other day. I think he's only played just over about 1,000 minutes domestically, right? So you're talking he's played like 10 or 11 games. He's got something like 4 or 5 goals and 4 or 5 assists, right? That's a pretty incredible return for a guy who's playing midfield, right? It's almost a kind of 1-2 goal ratio and kind of 1-2 on assists as well, which traditionally, I know Messi and Ronaldo kind of scuppered these stats, right? But traditionally, you go, if you're hitting 1 and 2, you're doing all right as a centre forward, right? So Yanis Hagi, perfect for these games. Obviously, you'll come on and talk about his second goal as well, mate. But he got us off to a great start. He was in and around the box, mate. And it comes back to that point, right? Get goal scorers on the park, mate, and you'll win games.
Correct. And as you say, it wasn't long until it was that man again involved to make the 2-0. It was a free kick in the edge of the area. It takes a pretty wicked deflection, let's be fair, off the county defender, and it is 2-0 Rangers. It wasn't quite the jubilant celebration at the corner flag for this one. It was very much quite composed from Giannis. For me, it was interesting to see us, switching up our set piece takers. Obviously, traditionally, we've seen that Tav and even back in the day, Borna were kind of they are the set pieces. There's kind of no way about it. At the weekend there, you saw obviously Hagi lining up. Tav was there, Tierney, I think even Diamande was there. So there's quite a few that potentially are valuable to us from set pieces. Where do you kind of sit on that, mate? In terms of do you like having 1 or 2 kind of set guys on a set piece, or are you quite open to having potentially 3 or 4 guys who can do a job from a dead ball?
I think it comes back to this whole get goal scorers on the park, mate. It comes back to the same. Get people who can hit set pieces, right? These are opportunities for you to take advantage of teams, right? You look at down south and you look at Arsenal as an example, right? Look at the amount of bloody corners they score, right? They constantly take advantage of the fact that you will get multiple corners in games, right? Our set pieces for a long, long time, probably since Gerrard left, have just been so poor, particularly corners, right? We must have taken 4,000 corners since Gerrard left, and I think we've scored 3 or 4 goals for them, right? Our ratios are absolutely shocking. And yeah, again, James Tavernier has been that stalwart who has constantly hit every single set piece that we've hit. Again, it annoys me because sometimes you would see James Tavernier, hitting off a corner on the right-hand side. It would go for a corner on the arse side, and you'd need to wait and Tavernier running over the arse side to take it. Again, I'm just like, surely we've got more people who can cross a ball or hit a free kick. So, again, I think it just comes back to this, mate. If you've got people there who can cause damage at set pieces, mate, then I'm all for switching it up, mate. I'm all for switching it off. Yanis Hagi has scored a couple of kind of set pieces for us now. I know we've mentioned Braga. We've obviously seen the one at the weekend there. I think traditionally, he's maybe scored one other one as well. Yanis Hagi is a decent set. As I say, he's a technician, right? He's very, very good. He can hit with both feet. So he's a good option to have because irrelevant of where that free kick is, Yanis Hagi has shown that he can hit with both feet, whether it's a cross, whether it's a shot at goal. And yeah, you're right, mate. I think it's refreshing to see that there are others kicking about on free kicks as well. Diamande is one of the guys as well, mate. So yeah, it's refreshing to see that it's not just Tav, because Tav will go through these wee purple patches as well, where everything he hits seems to get in, and then he'll go through these patches where he can't beat the first man at corners for a wee period of time, right? So it is good just to be able to switch it up and have another option there that you can change it to.
Yeah, definitely, and you almost wonder if, obviously, we know Tav's not going to be here forever, as much as, and that'll probably bring a lot of delight to folk, but from Tav being kind of that traditional, the set piece taker, is Clement maybe looking to the future and saying, right, when he's gone, and it'll be case with penalties as well, who's gonna fill that role. So it's, as you say, refreshing's the word, definitely. And in the first half, we made it 3. It was John Soapy Suter, the man we were just just discussing there. It was a corner in from Hagi. Again, Hagi very much involved in the first half. That's fair to say. Raskin nips in with a header towards the back post, and Suter with a pretty striker's finish for me. Very very composed. Nicky, why is the answer to scoring a corner our smallest guy in the pitch? Like it's the most Rangers thing ever. Brilliant finish from Suter, but it's a complete head scratcher really.
I know it's and I've seen some nonsense on Twitter as well about these as well. Let's see, sometimes you see corners and it gets whipped in, it kind of gets cleared, and then it's like you pass it about a wee bit and then cross it back in, and you maybe score on the second attempt. People go, "We scored for a set piece," and it's like, no, really, right? To score for a corner in my book is you cross the ball in and somebody headers it, a big thunder bastard header, and that's it, right? John Suter, you could probably say he scored from a set piece because that's kind of a well worked routine, right? You've kind of headed it down. You should always have, I know, obviously I played a lot of football. One of the things that every coach always said to me is you should always have somebody coming in at the back post, right? The amount of balls that either go right through, everybody misses and it hits the back post, or it takes a wee nick and it comes in at the back post. So it's just good movement from John Suter, and you're right, mate. It's a tremendous finish. He's close range, right? But you would expect a centre half to hit the Copeland rear or Bloomland rear. I can't remember what side we were shooting first way, mate, but you'd expect most centre halves to hit the back end of the stadium with them. So no, it was a brilliant finish, mate, and as I say, it was good to see him come back into the team, mate, and it's even better to see him score a goal as well.
Correct, it is definitely good to see him back in. We go into half time 3-0, and just quickly there was a substitute from Clermont at half time as young Bailey Rice comes in for Diamande. Obviously, you've not been on to kind of say a piece about Bailey Rice. What are your thoughts on him? For me, he's not afraid to shoot. He's definitely, for somebody who we thought was going to be that kind of number six, he gets himself in the right positions. I think back to, he came on early at Old Trafford. He had a chance. I think it went over the bar, don't get me wrong, but the intelligence to get into those positions, he's proven to be quite attacking minded, which is good for me. So Bailey Rice, what's your kind of thoughts there? Obviously the substitution, it's probably good to get him. That's 45 minutes under his belt, so it's brilliant for him. But as a player, are you on the Bailey Rice bandwagon?
I think firstly, I can see why he's probably frustrated, right? I think the weekend's game there against Ross County looked to me like the perfect one that you throw Bailey Rice in for the start. Right, I know we've not got a midweek fixture, right, and maybe the likes of Diamande and them don't need the rest, because Diamande covers a shitload of ground, by the way, honestly. See, like, you look back to the European game, USG, Diamande's everywhere, as is Raskin, right? So, yes, there are opportunities to maybe take these guys out. Again, I know we've kind of got a week between fixtures this week, so it maybe wasn't needed, but, I mean, that's screaming out as a fixture that you put, like, the likes of Bailey Rice in, right? Put him in with a Raskin. Right, so he's got that experience beside him who can kind of talk him through, or a Diamande, whatever you want, right? Take one of them out and put Bailey Rice in. So I can understand why he's frustrated, mate. I think he looks good. I mean, the consensus is, you go back to when we took Bailey Rice for Motherwell, right? Bailey Rice was the hottest prospect at Motherwell, right? It wasn't Lennon Miller, right? I know Lennon Miller is massively kicked on, right? But how much of that is down to the opportunities that he's got at Motherwell, right? He plays every single week and has done for, what, 2.5 years now he's kind of played. Bailey Rice has obviously been in and out our B team, reserve team, whatever you want to call it. So he's maybe not had the same opportunities to develop, and Lennon Miller looks as if he's kicked on. But Bailey Rice was the big name, right? When we went to Motherwell to take their kind of young talent, it was Bailey Rice. It wasn't Lennon Miller we were looking at. And to be honest, Lennon Miller will now go for 4 or 5 million quid, depending on his contract situation. So, I like him, mate. I like him. I don't think he's done himself any harm. I know he came in one of the European games and had a bit of a shocker because they gave away a foul and a free kick and they scored for it within minutes. But I think since then he's been pretty well. What I like about him is very similar to Raskin, as he always looks to play forward. He's not into the kind of sideways and playing it safe, back into your centre half, back into your fullbacks. He always looks to play forward. He always looks to break lines. I don't watch a lot of kind of B team football. I see wee snippets here and there, stuff on Twitter and online and stuff like that. And even when he plays there, he's the exact same, mate. He's kind of their dictator. He breaks lines constantly, beats presses. He constantly puts the ball forward. So yeah, I like him, but I mean, as a youngster, I always think back to Gerrard. I don't know if any of you guys ever seen it, right? But I always remember Gerrard doing an interview, talking about breaking into the Liverpool team. And I mean, Gerrard was an animal, right? When you think back to Gerrard in his playing days, but he always talks about breaking into the Liverpool team when he was young. And bearing in mind they top internationals, right? Jamie Redknapp and a couple other players. And I always remember Gerrard saying, as a youngster, when you break into the team, you need to move folk out the road and they're not coming back in, right? That's the kind of analogy he had. And that's kind of where our youngsters need to try and do, right? When they get these chances, they need to grab it, right? They need to do something special, right? They need to move people like Raskin and Diamandi out the road, and you need to stop them getting back in. So that's the challenge for the likes of Bailey Rice. I know Lovelace had a few opportunities, didn't really grab it. Again, we'll come on and talk about him. He's buggered off back down south again. Again, probably another frustrated figure, but you could argue he's maybe not been given a huge amount of opportunities, but has he really grabbed it? Like, has he really come in and stated a claim to say, this is my position now and you're not coming back in here? I don't think either of them have yet, mate. So I think Bailey Rice is the one, though, that you go, he could probably make it, but if any opportunities and any opportunities he does get over the coming weeks and months, mate, he needs to grab it. He needs to make the absolute most of it.
No, definitely. I do think the game at the weekend, which we'll come up to speak about on Friday night, Bailey Rice needs to start from the start. You need to be seeing these young players come in, and yeah, it's obviously that area of the park when you've got a Nico Raskin who's playing the form that he's in. It's always going to be tricky to get in ahead of him. But he's definitely, for me, Bailey Rice is one that we need to keep giving game time because you can see it starting to build. If we can get him, obviously he's been promoted to the first team. If we can keep him in that position and not see him for months, then it's only going to do us good at the end of the day, and that's all we're after. So it was a next highlight in the game, which was a Tavernier penalty to Rangers. My three favourite words. Dessers filled in the box from a corner as a kind of Ross County player lunges in. It's calmly slotted into the bottom right. Nicky, for Tav, that's 1 goal, 3 assists in his last 4. Obviously, we know that. Let's be fair. I think there's a lot of the kind of chat is that Tav will potentially be off ski next season. It's but for the time being, it's quite refreshing. I think to see Tav getting back up to form. We know the quality he's got, the obviously composure from the centre circle. But that's 4 returns in 4 games. I can't look by that too much. So yeah, what's your kind of thoughts on Tav, mate? I'm sure we'll wind up a few folk, but what's your thoughts? Please let me know.
To be honest, quite surprised. I'm not sure he had it in him. I kind of thought he was done, to be honest, mate. It's refreshing is a good word, mate. He's come in at set. He's done a job, right? He's as what a Rangers captain should do, right? He's been asked questions. He's been asked to help out in positions that are maybe out with his comfort zone, mate. Centre half, I thought he was the latter stages of, was it Man United he first done it? He kind of slipped in there. I thought he was great. I think the USG game where he played parts at centre half as well, I thought he was very, very good, mate. And then obviously, he's went into right back, his kind of usual position. He's played well, mate. I think, this has probably been the thing with Tav, though, hasn't it? His Rangers career has been littered with these wee purple patches, and some of these purple patches last way longer than others, right? You think back to the 55 season, his purple patch was the full season, right? But there has been other instances kind of either side of that kind of one season. Maybe you could maybe even argue the following season, right? The Seville run, he was pretty much on it the vast majority of the season, right? But since either side of those two, he's always had these wee patches where he gets through, where he looks great, and then he has that absolute bomb scared moment, right, where everything just falls to shit, right, over the next couple of weeks. So I think for Tav, listen, it's brilliant to see him come back into the team and start contributing again, certainly the way we know he does in terms of the assists and the goal numbers that he gets. I think I was quite surprised to kind of see him hit this kind of form again. And to be honest, it's quite good because we've got nobody else, right? Sterling is AWOL, don't know where the hell Sterling is. Leon King, felt sorry for him, right? Coming into a big European game, looked as if he get concussed or whatever it was, kind of early doors and had to disappear. So there isn't really any other options, mate. I genuinely look about the Adam Devine's away on loan, right? I genuinely look at the team and I go, I don't know who the else would play right back. Could you maybe make an argument for like a Connor Barron or somebody like that to fill in? I'm just going, you kind of play a wee bit like Ryan Jack, and Ryan Jack done it. So could you maybe do it? So we've not got a lot of other options, mate. So we kind of need Tav to come in. And for what it's worth, I thought Tav was great against Celtic as well in the 3-0 game. I know he's had a real hard time in a lot of these fixtures, but he's been good in the last couple of Celtic games as well. So no, it's good to see him. It's good to see him performing, contributing, and hopefully it continues, mate.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think you make a good point. It's the best ability is availability, especially in a business like football. The more, especially in the situation, man. Even you look at like Casemiro, what you do for him back now, just to give you options. But Tav's he's there, and for coming back in at the cold, that's I believe 490 minutes for him on the bounce. So yeah, it is definitely. You need to give credit to the guy for being there, fit and available for the team, and hopefully it continues. I'm hoping to see that. But we then see kind of last kind of few stages of the game. We see the return of Tom Lawrence. Yes, hurrah in the comments. Who comes off for Agaman. It's potentially quite interesting. You can see he went down the tunnel. I'm not sure what's going on there. But rumour has it he was just trying to catch the post match. But anyway, enough on that. And we see the debut for Fernandez, who came on for Inciala. Quickly, mate, Inciala, just take it away. He's an absolute joy to watch. A guy who obviously he comes in from the Giants of AC Milan. There's going to be a wee bit about the lad. This guy is very, very quickly making himself, as we're saying, that kind of one of the first names in the team sheet. And at that age of, what is he, 22? 22. Remarkable for him just now. For me, he's doing nothing but good for me.
Aye, you're right, mate. Thrown in. I mean, you could ask question marks like, why? What the hell's he been doing in the B team all this time? Right? Is he? Has he maybe been a similar situation to Igaman, where he's come in and he's just been miles off it, kind of physically? Because even AC Milan, I think he was playing second string football even over there. I don't think he featured at all really with the kind of first team. I don't even think he was in and around their match day squads. Somebody might correct me, but as far as I'm aware, he was kind of playing that second string role for them as well in their reserves or B teammate. So I don't know what the situation is. I don't know if he's just been completely unfit, completely out of shape. Some of the stories you hear about Igaman was he was miles off it when he first came in, and he needed just that wee bit of time to kind of build up his physical fitness. So maybe that's why. But yeah, there is question mark. Why have we not seen him earlier? But listen, he's come in. He's been brilliant. He's kind of been thrown in again because of lack of options, right? But he looks very, very good. He looks aggressive in the air. I like the recovery pace. Reminds me slightly of Calvin Bassey, dare I say it, in terms of that kind of recovery pace. Calvin Bassey, occasionally what we did see in those runs to Seville was he would maybe take a heavy touch or somebody would nick in and get the ball, but one thing you were sure of is Bassey would catch them and take the ball off them again, right? And Inciala's got a wee bit of that about him in terms of that kind of recovery pace. But what I really like about him is how good his passing's been. I think again, I'm quite traditional, right? I quite like having a right centre back that's right footed and a left centre back that's left footed. I think it gives you perfect but much better balance, right, in terms of being able to open up the game and kind of switch play, etc. And Ciala's doing that again. If we think about how we break some of these teams down, we don't get the ball up the park quick enough for me. I think we dilly-dally. That's why I like guys like Raskin and them, because they're always very forward-thinking. They put the ball through lines. And Ciala's a bit like that as well, and that makes a massive boost, right? Having a centre-back that can do that as well, who can punch through a centre-forward, kind of press, who can switch the ball from left centre-back to right wing to Czerny, and you can kind of go on the attack. And we've also seen him go left side as well, out to Yefti or up to a Yanis Hagi or whoever's playing kind of left side. So I really like him, mate. I think it's good that we've brought in Fernandez. I don't know what Fernandez is. Is he a right centre-back? Is he a left centre-back? I'm not really too sure. Proper seems to be left centre back, but obviously he's playing right centre back to kind of help Enciala. Maybe we are a wee bit top heavy in that kind of right hand side, but I don't think there's any reason at the minute that you take Enciala out of the team. It's probably giving Clement a wee bit of a headache. But listen, this is what you want, mate. See, if you're a football manager, you want a headache. For too long, we do not have that headache. We have guys who get in their comfort zone. They know the jersey's there. They know they're not going to get dropped. People like John Lundstrom and them. So when they go through these bad patches, they're not really caring, right? They're not really caring. Because there's nobody breathing down their neck. What we're now seeing a wee bit is some genuine competition at centre back, because you've got John Souttar coming back, who you rightfully say, Ross, is probably the number one centre back in the squad at the minute. You've got Proper, who by the way, I think is becoming better and better. I think he was very shaky, and I thought the jury was out with him immediately. Right, the physicality of Scottish game, I thought this guy's having a nightmare here. But then he started playing in the European games, and I thought, you know what, I can kind of see something with Proper. He does actually look all right. He's kind of started progressing that into some of the domestic fixtures as well. I think he's been better. I thought, again, he was all right against Celtic as well. So, and then you've got Enciala. So you're starting to see a bit of competition. You've got the boy Fernandez coming in as well. Nobody really knows what he looks like, but from what I hear, he's a big, strong, aggressive centre-back as well. Exactly what we need, mate. So, it's nice to see a bit of healthy competition, mate, and it just gives Clement a wee bit of a headache of who's he's going to be his perfect two that he plays taking forward.
Yeah, definitely. I think at the moment we need to kind of probably be realistic in saying that having that headache is a bit of a luxury. Like, all over the pitch, we are very much shoehorning players in. So to have that option there, at least start at centre back. We've got the centre backs not sorted, but you've got the options there. Let's try and find it all over the pitch. You know, can we find a Bailey Rice to come in? So then there's a midfielder to sort your problem out. Who's going to be the next winger? You know, now that Cortez is out, Matondo's out. So at least we've kind of, that centre back problem is beginning to hopefully kind of sort itself out. And as you say, I was going to come on to it, is kind of who would be the kind of partner in the centre half. For me, Proper just now is looking not bad at all for a guy who I very quickly did a Ali Pearson and I wrote him off. He's very much proven me wrong, especially as you say in those European games. You can see that, is it maybe the experience? Yeah, obviously captain at FC20, he's got a decent pedigree about him. So the more we can see that, the better. But for me, young NCR was the standout definitely. As you say, Fernandez, it's hard to make out a 10-minute cameo against Ross County. I think you'll probably see on Sunday, hopefully Fernandez from the start, because as Ali says, you know, what's the point in bringing these boys in if they're not going to play? We need to start getting them playing some minutes. So again, we'll come on to that on Friday on Club Live. But that was it, mate. The game finished 4-0 Rangers. As we say, very, very comfortable, very routine. There's almost a way little you can take away from games like that, although you can only beat what's in front of you, as the saying goes. But it sees us another home victory, and yeah, we move on to a game at the weekend. Obviously, it is now the 4th of February. The transfer window shut yesterday, with Rangers making a wee bit of business in the end, which we'll come on to speaking about. But kind of, we'll quickly start on the news that has just came out from Rangers last night. Rangers announced that Lyle Cameron will be joining Rangers from Dundee this summer upon the expiry of his contract at Dundee. He's a 22-year-old midfielder. He's been picking up Player of the Year awards at Dundee for fun at the moment. And he's a guy who's not afraid to find the back of the net. That's 8 goals, 9 assists in all competitions this season. I believe that's in 30 games. So, Nicky, obviously, it won't be coming in just now. It's one to look forward to for the summer. Again, adding another midfielder into the mix, kind of strengthening up those kind of backups and, I guess, starting positions. What's your thoughts on kind of signing like this? Obviously, we've kind of been crying out for kind of getting a wee bit more homegrown talent in there. So, Lyle Cameron, is it a good signing for you?
I think it's probably a sensible signing. It's not one that gets me massively excited, that gets me off my seat, to be honest. But I do think Rangers have been pretty poor at picking up these domestic deals that's staring you in the face, right? Connor Barron's probably the first one that we've kind of taken. He's another one. I think the other boys that are kind of kicking about, Lennon Miller's obviously the obvious one. You're going to need to stick your hand in your pocket to get him, mind you. I quite like the boy Watson for Kilmarnock. So there is a couple that have kind of been staring you in the face a wee bit that you go, Rangers probably just need to take advantage because they're kind of risk-free, right? They are kind of risk-free. You bring in like Sabarin on a free. I know we went to Tribunal and we paid what, 500,000, 400,000, whatever it was. Similar with Lyle Cameron. I don't know what the script is. Do we still need to pay a fee even though we were waiting until the summer? I think we do because they've developed them. It's this whole development aspect. But to be honest, mate, I wasn't aware his stats were as good as that. Kind of 8-9 goals and 8 or 9 assists there or thereabouts. Do I think at the minute he will take us up a level? Probably not. I think he's better than like a Barami or an Igaman. He's certainly not better than Igaman, right? But the guys who are probably playing like kind of that attacking midfield role at the minute, do I think he'll massively take us up a level? I don't know. He probably brings us similar to what Barron will bring us. He'll know the game. He'll bring an energy. He kind of buzzes about from what I've seen. He's kind of he floods the box. A bit like kind of Scott Arfield, who's a guy we've probably missed a wee bit in terms of just flooding the box and getting goals from midfield. So it's a sensible signing. It's not one that will get me off my seat, as I say. Again, it's risk free. You're paying virtually nothing for him. His wages won't be big. If it works, fantastic. He's a young boy. He's only 22 years old, whatever it is. He will get better, much the same as what Connor Barron will. If he gets better and he goes up a few levels and he becomes a mainstay at Rangers, then fantastic. It will turn out to be a brilliant signing. If he doesn't kick on, he kind of becomes a squad player. What you'll tend to find is he'll move to another domestic team, or there's always interest down south as well. You like say your Birmingham's and your kind of championship clubs. So it is relatively risk free, but again, it's one that was kind of staring us in the face, mate. We'd probably been scratching our heads, going, "Why did we not take Lyle Cameron if he disappeared down south in the summer, mate?" So sensible, but we'll see how it pans out.
Yeah, I think kind of, as the comments saying there, it's an upgrade from Lawrence. For me, this is kind of what I kind of talking about, the whole having that strong backup. If you look at having a Lyle Cameron in there instead of, for example, a Kieran Dowell, that's making the squad a wee bit better. And so
you could have me in, and I'd been upgrading Kieran Dowell to be fair.
Yeah, it's definitely it's about moving players like that off the books and kind of bringing in the likes of these players who, as you say, risk free is probably the perfect way to put it. Speaking of a Kieran Dowell, we should speak about the ins and outs of the transfer window. Start with the ins. Obviously, we just spoke about the kind of pre-contract of Leo Cameron. Obviously, Rafael Fernandez on loan with an option to buy. And then you could maybe include that Finlay Curtis got a contract extension, but in terms of bringing kind of new players in, those are the two. Obviously, we knew from the kind of announcement that it was going to be one, maybe two signings, so it's probably expected, to be fair. As much as I'd love to bring in 3 or 4, then, but it's not realistic just now in the kind of state that we're in. The outs, mate, is kind of got the list here beside me. We've got Robbie Fraser, who's went out on loan to Livingston, Alex Lowry to Wycombe Wanderers, Kieran Dowell to Birmingham City on loan. Likewise, Rabbi Matondo's out on loan out in Germany at Hanover, who scored, by the way, and he scored a wonder goal in his debut, which is the most Rangers thing ever. You've got Adam Devine out on loan at Queen's Park, and last but not least, you've got Zach Lovelace out to Millwall. Now, kind of looking at it, it sounds like quite a lot of names rhyming off. It's only two bodies out the door. Sorry. You look at these players like your. I'm more talking about your Kieran Dowells and your Matondos. They'll still be at Rangers in come the summer. You can even include Ben Davies in there. There's still players who ultimately will be coming back to Ibrox. You're just kind of hoping that they kind of do a Matondo and score on their debut and hopefully make a bit of a name for themselves. So with the outs, mate, kind of the one I think one of the comments was saying earlier on about kind of Zach Lovelace being the one that maybe raised a few eyebrows. It's pretty late on in the window. It was also announced in the B team account on Twitter. I don't know how much you read into that, but I don't know what to make of that. But yeah, when you look at all the outs, mate, you look at there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 names there ultimately who are going out the door for just now. Would you say that's been? Would you say that's been reasonable? Is there any shocks in there for you?
Nah, I don't think so, mate. I think, like you, listen, I would love to get these guys off the book permanently now, but you're almost hoping that they all do a Sam Lammers, right? And they go wherever they're going and become some sort of sensation in Birmingham or whoever their kind of club is, take them on a permanent basis. For what it's worth, Ben Davies seems to be drawing a lot of plaudits down there. So I suspect that if they get promotion, and I think they're on course for it at the minute, Ben Davies is one they will take off our hands. Likewise, Kieran Dill, you just kind of hope he can make an impact in the next kind of 2-3 months. And with his championship experience, if they go up, they maybe take him off our hands. And if they do, then we should get a statue of Birmingham's recruitment guy stood up outside Ibrox, I think. Because if he takes Tom Lawrence, right, it's a hat-trick as well, because I know there's rumours about him. But you obviously want them off the books on a permanent basis, mate. There's a lot of other guys like Cifuentes and that, guys you just completely forget about, that are on kind of these, not obligation to buys, but option to buys. You just hope, mate, over the next couple. And again, for what it's worth, I hear Cifuentes is doing all right out in Greece or Cyprus or wherever he is. So you just hope that they get off the book. You're talking a lot of money, right? I think Matondo and Dill alone, I was talking, was close to like over 50 grand a week, right, between the two of them, which is just an absolute shambles, right? And again, you come back to, you've brought in the likes of Lyle Cameron, right? He could be a replacement for Kieran Dill. He must be on half the money Kieran Dill was. So it's a good option there. But I think Lovelace is the one. The B team tweeting it is a bit of a weird one. Does it just suggest that he wasn't good enough for the first team? He was never really promoted. He got a couple of opportunities. For what it's worth, I actually feel a bit sorry for Lovelace, because he came in, I'm sure it was under Michael Beale when we were going through a wee bad patch, and he played well, and he got that bad injury halfway through the game, and we never seen him again for months and months and months. So I do feel sorry for him that he kind of get that opportunity. He looked as though he was taking it, and he got that horrific injury. But since then, again, he's just never really kicked on. He seems to do some good things in the B team. I thought he played against Fraserburgh, didn't he? He was out left wing against Fraserburgh. I thought it was crap against Fraserburgh. Again, you're like, these guys, this should be games you're dominating, right? You want to play with Rangers, you want to be part of that first team squad. You should grab in that game by the scruff of the neck and making things happen. He's just never really done it, mate. And yeah, it's probably telling that it was tweeted from the B account, mate. But like I say, I think overall, we didn't see a huge amount of movement. I didn't expect many coming in. Fernandes, I think we did need a centre half. Arguably, we needed them a month earlier, given the challenges we had. And obviously, Lyle Cameron was a sensible one for the summer, mate. But as I say, I find it quite refreshing, mate. I think January's a difficult window. I'm really glad that actually we didn't throw 30 or 40 grand a week at some championship journeyman to come up and do what? Like, secure second place. Like, second place is already secured, right? We're not going to finish third. We're not going to finish first either. Breaking news. But so I'm just a bit like, it actually makes more sense to get these guys out the door, get their wages off the books, right? 50 grand a week. You know what I mean? You could save £1.5 million quid between now and summer on the likes of Matondo and Dill's wages. Does that go into a transfer kitty? I don't know, potentially. The one thing I did find a wee bit strange about the whole thing, though, mate, is Clement made a comment about anybody who goes out the door will be replaced with similar quality. I don't know. Is he just been a smart arse in terms of saying the youth players who are going to come into this team, i.e. Bailey Rice for Kieran Dill and, I don't know, Finlay Curtis for Matondo, are as good as they two? Is that what he's meaning? Or did he mean, I'm kind of expecting you to go into the transfer market here and bring me a centre mid and bring me a winger? I'm not really too sure, but again, it's just one of the ones, it's quite cryptic. It just kind of opens them up for a wee bit of challenge and a wee bit of debate amongst fans. Maybe that is what he means, and maybe his next press conference, somebody will chin him about it, and he'll go, we've got Finlay Curtis and Bailey Rice stepping up. I'm not really too sure. But I did just find that one a wee bit strange, mate.
Yeah, I know. I completely agree, mate. It's another. Clement's had a few of them. He has had a few of them that kind of leaves me a wee bit frustrated.
He's cryptic all the time, and I'm not
Always,
sure if it's like, is, and I don't mean that's bad. Is his English not brilliant?
yeah.
It probably isn't that because he speaks like 5 languages, right? He's a very intelligent guy. Or am I going? Are you just a smart arse and you're just kind of playing this wee game with the media? I'm not really too sure.
No, neither. That's the one thing that I always think about is the language barrier, and as you say, he's not a daft guy.
No, he's an
So
intelligent individual.
he's been there for a while as well. So
Yeah.
I'm not sure. And as you say, if somebody does bring it up, it would definitely want to tune into. So yeah, feel free to whoever's on the panel that day to take some inspiration because there's definitely some questions needing answered. That's for sure. But that's just coming up to the kind of the 50 minute mark, mate. Kind of covered quite a fair bit there. It's always a quick 50 minutes. I know I feel like I say that every week, but it's always a quick chat with Rangers. But yeah, we'll be back on Sunday, Friday even, to speak about the upcoming game on Sunday. And we'll see who's on for that. But first of all, mate, I shall give you a thank you. Thank you very much, mate, for coming on. It is very good to see you. Getting a lot of love in the comments, which is well deserved. So yeah, it's brilliant to have you back on, mate.
No, listen, it's good to be back on. I appreciate you hosting, mate, and just letting me blether for 45 of those 50 odd minutes, mate. So that was good. There's been a lot happening, a lot of changes. The roller coaster analogy, as I say, is part and parcel of being a Rangers fan, mate. As I say, we've Clement hopefully is happy with the business that's went on in January. We just need to kick on, mate. We need to kick on. We need to see a bit more consistency. We talked a wee bit about Ross County there. Ross County, these games are never an issue for us, right? These games at home at Ibrox are never really an issue for us. Much the same as the European games are never really an issue for us. The away form is where we have faltered massively this season, mate. So hopefully we see a wee bit of a turn there with a fairly decent result at Dundee United just recently. The second half performance was great. Hopefully we see a bit of consistency now. We need to get a bit of momentum in the league. We need to go all out for the Scottish Cup, which realistically is probably the last domestic trophy that we have any chance of winning this year. And then let's see what happens in Europe as well. We've shown consistently that we can punch above our weight. So let's see what happens in the next round. Let's see who the draw gives us, and we kick on from there, mate.
We kick on indeed, mate. We will. We'll be back on Friday as always to speak to you all again. And yeah, that's all from us this evening. Thank you to everyone in the chat as always. And yeah, we shall see you on Friday. We are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Cheers, everybody.